it's just this counterintuitive thing where they're trying to fight inflation, but the fighting of the inflation is actually going to harm the way that the government operates because we're when rates go up, it makes it harder to borrow. We're the biggest borrower in the world.
Yeah, there's this weird, and there's a fiscal impulse to all this too that, I think inflation will continue to moderate in the private sector, but we're going to get to a spot probably in the not too distant future. And I wrestle with this a lot. The challenge is there's no fundamental difference between the government basically running, $600 billion stimulus, right? So giving everybody a stimmy, printing up 600 billion, and having the Fed print up 600 billion, give it to Treasury gives it to everybody, $600 billion stimmy. Boom. Okay. We know how that works. We know that's inflationary. If the Fed raises rates and interest expense goes up $600 billion like they've done on a pro forma basis, there's really no difference between 600 billion in interest and 600 billion in stimmy, except who it goes to.
Right.
It goes to the wealthy in the case of the interest, who then spend it into the economy. So it's more of a Cantillon effect down the road, but it's still inflationary. It goes to the military-industrial complex. It's inflationary versus everybody, where it's much more. It's almost like getting high slowly versus sort of high grade. The stimmy to everybody's like high grade heroin right into your veins, right? So in terms of the inflationary impact, but here's the point. When you're doing it via the interest rates, they're curtailing private sector demand, private sector capacity growth, but they are increasing government printing, government spending emissions into the economy without increasing the capacity in the economy to address that. So there is this. They're going to get to a tipping point. I don't know when that tipping point is. I don't think it's years from now, and maybe it's 6 months from now, maybe it's 12 months from now. I don't know. Where government deficits are inflationary, and they are rising, and they're going to keep rising because interest is going up, and defense is going up, and entitlements are going up, and at the same time, the productive side, the private side of the U.S. economy, because government doesn't make anything, all they do is spend. The private side is shrinking by virtue of these rate increases. So if you shrink capacity while increasing spending by raising rates, you're not fighting inflation anymore. You're increasing inflation, the inflationary impulse. You're increasing supply chain problems. You're increasing demand, money out in the economy, while shrinking the ability to produce output for that money. So there's this. I do think we will continue to see a decline in inflation sequentially, but I don't think it's going to be as far as people think. And B, I think we're going to get to this fiscal problem well before inflation's back to 2, where the Fed has to start printing to finance the government.